Jacob Frenkel is the chairman of JPMorgan Chase International, and so he has an interesting and unique perspective on what we heard from the Fed chairman today, because also central bankers from around the world are here. And you're a former central banker, governor of the Bank of Israel. What did you think of the speech from that perspective?
I thought it was an excellent speech. It emphasizes what the Fed can do and what it cannot do. There are no rabbits to be taken out. Focus on the long term. Focus on the fact that in the long term, the U.S. is a very productive economy, and he is very optimistic about the long term, emphasizing that the job of the Fed is to ensure that price stability and financial stability are maintained, and also noting that the fundamental issues for the long term really need to be addressed by the budget and by education and by healthcare and the like, which is really not the preview of the Fed.
Well, there are kind of two takeaways from this speech today. One is that the Fed is very reluctant to do any additional easing, whatever method they choose, and the other is that maybe more is coming, but not until September 20th. What was your read?
Well, I did not sense any reluctance to do anything that is needed, but rather an assessment that today that is what is needed. And the emphasis that there will be another long meeting for deep consideration on September 20th and 21st is the message that all options are going to be discussed. But again, against the background that in the long term, the Fed will not give up the mandate of financial and price stability.
Do you think the economy needs it? The U.S. economy needs an additional boost of monetary help?
Well, the U.S. economy needs now much greater certainty, removal of regulatory uncertainty, removal of uncertainty concerning the long-term debt strategy, removal of uncertainty concerning how to reach the correct debt level. Those are the kind of things that are really the preview of Congress and government.
Again, your focus is overseas for JPMorgan, and Ben Bernanke made a point of saying he thought the Europeans were going to be able to deal with their problems. Tomorrow, Jean-Claude Trichet speaks. What are you expecting?
Well, the European has a real task. It's not an easy one. Of course, people are optimistic that maybe they will take put their house in order. But there is a fundamental issue that hurts Europe. It is non-competitive. And this requires long-term structural measures. There is, of course, a very large hangover and huge debt for some of the countries that were very lax on fiscal policy. They will need to address it. And again, the notion that the ECB, the European Central Bank, has been overburdened because governments did not perform their task is still on the table. That governments need to come back and do their job so as to release and remove some of the burden of the European Central Bank, and they can focus on what they were created for: price stability and financial stability. Recently, they have stepped into the territory that was left unattended by governments just in order to prevent a worse outcome. But they would love to get out of that territory.
Well, there's a lot of focus now on Monsieur Trichet's speech in the same sense there was on Ben Bernanke's. But is this the wrong forum to expect him to announce any kind of policy change? Same question we were asking about Bernanke earlier.
Well, Jackson Hole is not the forum for major policy changes. They are done domestically at the right preview at the right time. By the same token, Jackson Hole is a place where there are people from all over the world, private sector, public sector, U.S., non-U.S., financial, non-financial, and there is no better way to spread the strategy and explain what you are doing than here.
So we could go either way. Thank you very much.
Hopefully to the right direction.
Yeah, hopefully we can get there. Jacob Frenkel, thank you very much for joining us.